The trust was formed at a time when people were very concerned about the future of the football club, really wanting to do something to make sure that the football club was protected for the future. Formed at a time when the genuine fear was that administration could be looming, that the end of the club could be looming. And ultimately that led to a conversation with a number of people around what the opportunities were. One of the opportunities being a supporters trust, a model that's in place at a number of clubs already. A public meeting followed in April 2016. Successful vote, over 98% of the people in attendance voted in favour of a trust being formed, and it was officially formed in the October of that year, before it was then opened up to members to actually join the trust in January of 2017, so just over a year and a half in operation now. Well, I guess some of it has been achieved through the change in ownership of the football club. At the outset, we were very much thinking about what do we need to do as a supporters trust when the worst happens. Ultimately, that didn't come to fruition, so what we were prepared for, thankfully, didn't come to fruition, and we were able to move forward to a place where we've been able to develop a really, really good relationship with the new executive board, and particularly the chairman of the football club, Nicholas Randall. I think it's really important to have a supporters trust because it gives an opportunity for fans in an ever-increasing commercial football world where business decisions often take precedence. It gives fans the opportunity to have influence, to have a say over the club they support, over something that really should be seen as a community asset before a business. And the supporters trust model gives a very formal, very transparent opportunity for them to engage with the football club on a level that other opportunities perhaps don't give them that. So for me, I got involved because, like everyone else, I was fearful over the future of the club, and it was either that or walk away. And as I've got more involved, I can say that genuinely this is more for the future. It's for my children, for my children's children, because I want them to go on and enjoy the football club that I've enjoyed. Despite the bad times, I want them to have a football club to support. And at the outset, it was a case of getting involved to protect the future of the club, to ensure there was one. We've got an excellent relationship, a very personable, very professional relationship, and I think we've worked very hard to get to a place where that relationship is one of mutual respect. We've worked hard to be very professional so that we were seen by the new board of the club as people that we could engage with. We recently signed a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, with the club, which essentially sets out the formal terms with which we engage with them. So things like, how often do we meet? What's the formality of the agenda? What will be discussed? Are there certain things that, if the club were thinking of changing the club crest, for example, they would come and talk to us about that? So it gives an opportunity for us to set something out that, as well as that personal relationship between us as a board and the club's board, there's some formality there that gives permanence. So when I move on, when others move on, that will still live on. You join by going to nffctrust.org. There's a simple sign-up form. Once you join up, you become a shareholder essentially in the trust. The trust is a community benefit society, non-profit organisation. The rest of that £12 for the yearly membership goes back into other activities. There are a number of things that we do. We don't use any money for anything other than the taking forward of the trust and moving the trust to the next level. It's significant for me on so many levels, as with many supporters. What Brian means to us as a club is almost unique in the footballing world, and Brian encapsulates what many of us still believe in as a very prestigious football club. I think if I look at recent events and recent times, for me, what Brian, along with Peter Taylor, and perhaps others before Brian, we need to remember that there were other people before Brian that gave the platform, but what Brian did in terms of the prestige he brought to our club meant that when we were in a place where other clubs maybe fell by the wayside, that prestige meant that someone still wanted to come in, still wanted to take over this football club, and still sees that there's a future in it at the very highest level of English football. I've got the confidence that the club will be put in a place where it can achieve something in English football. I think, if any football club is going to believe that miracles are possible, then it should be this one, because we've done it before. But more than anything, it's about giving us a club that's stable, giving us a club that it should be in the Premier League. Many fans of other clubs will say that, but it also should be insulated against the bumps in the road that in other times have seen us drip down the leagues, and we need to insulate against that for the future so that we can absorb those bad times. I think the trust hopes have to be bedded in stability. I think, you know, we've for some time craved to have the same manager end a season that started it, and that's probably number one on the list. And if that happens, then we'll all be very, very happy. I think if we look off the pitch, though, I think there's the opportunity now for many of the things that have been quietly put in place behind the scenes to start to come to fruition. The new owners inherited a football club that was essentially a skeleton of its former self. The off-field structure was almost non-existent, and they've spent a lot of time putting that back in place, bringing good people, Forest people, into the football club, people with serious prowess in their individual professionalisms, to then take the football club forward. And I think what we'll see over the next 12 months is some of that becoming more visible to supporters, whereas perhaps the day-to-day right now, supporters, all they see is do they win or lose on a Saturday. We hopefully see more of that coming out. I think it's massive for Nottingham. You know, there are various studies that talk about what having a Premier League football club would do for a city, any city in generic terms. But I think for Nottingham to be able to reflect on itself as a successful sporting city, which it is, you know, we're built on sporting prowess. This is undoubtedly a sporting city. But to be able to reflect on Nottingham Forest being back amongst the elite is something that would just give the whole city a lift. You know, this city is built upon the successes that we had in the past. Getting those back would just bring such a feel-good factor back to this city. I'd love to see us back amongst the elite. I have many friends that support other football clubs that are in the Premier League. I have family members that support, you know, clubs at the very top end of the Premier League, and they all talk so fondly about Nottingham Forest. And, you know, I really want to bring them back to this city, to my football club, and then be proud of coming to see a football club that's in the Premier League. And, you know, I hear so many people talk about Brian, about the past, but I want them to talk about the present. I want them to come and enjoy us as a Premier League football club, as a football club that's respected again for being innovative and at the front of its game, rather than one that was great once but perhaps not so much anymore.